anything with the feds. So,
Sure.
your first stance is it's bullshit. Anything that comes out of there.
It's true.
You know what, Mark? You should really start the show because we can have an easy, good conversation here.
Yeah, we're going. We're already going. I was just going to say, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining our Kitchen Table Talk. We are talking about, so we had a special guest in the green room and he didn't want to be on the main show, which is fine. But he was telling us that I've got it all wrong on cloned meat. My understanding of cloned meat is not correct, and we need to correct the record. And so the cloned meat is actually the animal according to the rancher, and he's going to send me some information, so I'm going to have a more robust talk about this tomorrow, probably on the show, hopefully. But he says lab-grown meat is different than cloned meat. What I've been describing as lab-grown meat, which the rancher doesn't like, but cloned meat is like Dolly, the cloned sheep from the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's basically, as Noel's saying, IVF. You fertilize an egg and then you implant the egg into a cow, and it's about genetics of the cow. So if you have a very, very productive beef cow and you want those productive beef cow genetics, then you used cloning to take that beef cow and give everybody the beef cow. But my problem.
But even what the rancher was saying, right? Is the first offspring of Dolly, we'll call it Dolly, right? The first offspring of Dolly is too expensive. Dolly was worth,
they wouldn't kill that. They wouldn't kill that.
$250,000 or $50,000. So it doesn't come until the offspring of the offspring of the offspring to be able to have that worthwhile, because you're not going to slaughter that animal. You're going to have that animal breed those good genetics to then propagate that, and that's where the rancher was saying that he would then buy a bull that would sire 50 or 60 cows, and he was saying that he had I believe he said a herd of 700.
Yeah.
So you could see how a couple of bulls from that prime genetic line, again, that sort of sounds a little eugenic-y, but I think that's more along the lines of what it is compared to IVF, where
they breed dogs. They breed dogs for like certain traits. They're like, this one's a really good ratter, and this one's a really good birder, bird dog.
But
you guys know anything about genetic variability?
Traits, but it takes
seriously.
time.
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah.
I mean, do you know anything about genetic variability? Right? Like Mendelian square. Do you know anything about that? Like, do you understand that 1 in 16 squares is undetermined? Have you checked anything about that? Like, that's a thing that you're not understanding, that the genomic variability is indeterminate. It's indeterminate. It cannot be manipulated.
On clones or just generally?
There's no generally about it. It is the selectivity of enzymatic reaction. Do you know the four adenine, guanine, adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine? The enzymatic reaction to variability. Do you know anything about that?
No.
Like, you guys are talking hypotheticals, man. I took a degree in biochemistry.
Well, okay, but hold, Steve, hold on. Just hold on a sec. Just hold on.
You're excusing a whole methodology.
Steve, just stop for a second, please. We're responding to a conversation we had with a farmer talking about cloned animals vis-a-vis my understanding of cloned animals. So browbeating us about not understanding a whole bunch of terms that you're throwing at us is not stop. Yeah, but that's what it came across like. So please stop.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, stop. Just stop, please. Just stop. We're responding to new information, for me anyway, because what I learned about cloned animals was that fundamentally they were lab-grown meat. They took some cells from a seed animal that they wanted for for delicious meat, and then they went and grew those cells in a lab in a petri dish, and then put it into a, what's it called, Noel?
Cultivator,
and then sold that meat. Incubator. Okay, that's a better word. I may remember that one. So fundamentally, that understanding was not correct. And what the farmer was saying is that they're doing cloning and slaughtering real animals And that's the distinction. I don't care necessarily about all the genetics and all of the enzyme
No, I
reactions and all that other
apologize.
stuff.
I
I don't give a shit.
apologize.
I don't care about that. Fundamentally,
I
thank you.
apologize. I jumped
Hold-
in. Okay?
hold on. Thank you.
Accept
So-
that. I apologize.
Thank you. So please understand what we're talking about before you go off, please, because
I'm sorry.
Jeepers creepers, man. Holy smoke. We're talking like, I think fundamentally, I would not be as opposed to cloned animals in the configuration of cloned animals that are grown from an embryo in a cow and born in the usual way. I wouldn't be as opposed to that. Does that make
They're
sense?
still birthed.
They're still birthed and they're still slaughtered. Like I thought they.
Or live birth. I didn't mean to say stillbirth. That
Oh,
sounded
right.
horrible.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. They're a regular life pattern is lived by these things. And so like in my mind, that changes the math a little bit. Regardless of the genetics of it, I think like but again, if the goal is more delicious meat, like, is this really the direction we need to go? Like, do we need to clone meat? It doesn't seem cheaper to me. It doesn't seem better.
Is meat not delicious enough?
Sure. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think to myself, man, I wish I had that cow from last week. That cow was way better than this cow. Or like I've had chicken that I thought, ooh, I've had better chicken. Like this one's tough or whatever. But like, I'm not sitting there thinking if the genetics of this chicken were better, I'd have a better meal here. Like, so like, I don't understand the drive for this, right? Like,
But I sort of understand that, as the rancher was saying, that it's not, you're not eating the clone meat. You're trying to find a bull that has a better genetic profile of a larger, stronger, healthier bull. It'd be no different than if you were trying to build a better warrior or a better soldier or anything like that.
See, but when you get into
not through eugenics in the
but that is exactly it is eugenics, right? So,
but that's why I said earlier it's like eugenics.
Yeah,
it's
it
not
is.
like
No, it is.
IVF. IVF, two people want to have a baby.
oh right, yeah, they're selecting. It's not quite Gattaca, but yeah, for the animals they're selecting.
But,
yeah,
but what they're doing with the clone meat sounds more Gattaca. That they make these nice bulls that can go and sire a herd.
And but that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like for you and me, they're like, listen, we just want you guys to have a genetic mix of you two, and we're not going to do anything. But like with cows, they want to spend $250,000 for cloning. You know what I mean? Like, what if I want to raise? I'm not this narcissistic or anything like that. But what if I want to clone me and raise me? You know what I mean? Like, I don't actually want to do that. But like, you can spend a crap ton of money on cows because that's important. I'm missing the connection. You know what I mean? We're not going to spend a lot of money on you humans, money, but like
money.
A hamburger's delicious.
Yeah, but it's not about your hamburger's delicious. It's he could make 50 more hamburgers that were as delicious.
Maybe I'm missing, and so maybe it's the rancher's side. Like maybe there's when I watched Clarkson's farm, there was loss of pigs, and Clarkson came up with a way to save some of the piglets, and his birth the
ratio
pigs,
went up.
The ratio of surviving piglets went up after what he did. So maybe, and like this is just my lack of understanding. I'm not a farmer, and I grew up on a farm until I was 5, so I don't really remember it. So like maybe the genetics matter on the farmer side rather than the eating side. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like this cow is gonna be really, really good, and he's gonna sire 50, whereas other cows are like 22.
It's no different. Have you ever known anybody that clones their own tomato plants? And all of a sudden they had a great strain of beefsteak tomatoes, and you're like, man, these beefsteak tomatoes are great.
Best I've ever had. Yeah. And all the apple trees are clones. Like you can't have a wild, like if you plant an apple seed, that apple seed will not necessarily produce apples the same as its parent. And each apple tree will produce, like the reason apples are the same, like Cortland apples, for example, or whatever apples, doesn't matter. Gala. The reason they're the same is because they're clones of the tree that produces them. So like you're eating cloned apples right now, right? Like, so it changes the math. So long as the damn thing is born, then I don't have such a problem with it.
All I was saying was careful with genetic variability.
Sure.
Careful with that.
Well, I don't care about it. I don't care about it other than is the animal. No. But I mean, within the conversation of the cloned meat and the animal, if it's lab grown meat, then I have a huge problem with just eating it and pretending like it's regular meat that is.
Well, that's where I was going, Mark. I didn't mean to offend. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
And
but if it's,
I don't like that. okay, I don't like the takeoff of that. It's very unscientific, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, what do I mean is that generational gap between cytoplasmic capabilities within an organism is sustainable. What they want is something that's not sustainable within organic, inorganic capability. And you got to be careful where those people choose to, like you said, the aluminum in the soil.
Mm-hmm.
And only certain plants grow for those things to grow. And what do you eat? Where does it go?
Oh, okay, so you're saying
that.
So you're
That's what
saying
I'm saying.
the way that, so in order to take control, like the Monsanto seeds, and
That's
those
right.
Monsanto seeds will grow in soil that wouldn't
Why
yield
do they
other
have
places.
seed banks?
So the cloned meat is taking control of the meat, and so the meat will only be under certain control. Yeah, okay, I could say it's plausible. It's plausible.
But don't forget that enzymatically they can alter that progenerative growth mechanism. Like from biochemistry at Ottawa U in like 1990, there's a guy he was from Johnson & Johnson. He got out of there and he made us sign literal documents that said, you will not do mRNA, you will not do these things. And you went to class of 400 people and you signed these things. You didn't know what you were. You were just a kid trying to get an education. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He was a forefront of that. It was Dr. Benson Hurd, like Dr. B. Hurd. I thought it was really funny. But you know what? Now that I look back, Dr. B. Hurd was right in those things. And he said, you're not allowed to do that. Don't do that.
We did it anyway.
Unfortunately. Yeah, and they did it anyway.
Yep,
because we're all gone. You know what I mean? They just moved on. And those are things ear to the ground like I am. And that's why I praise this stuff. And thank you for listening. I just want to shine that light because, you know, people miss that. And you're really good at it. You bring it all up. And, I appreciate that. That's all I'm saying.
Cheers, man. I try and talk about things that I'm interested in.
No, you
really.
do. You do. You kill it. You kill it all the time. And I'm proud of you.
Thanks. MC.
Well, someone mentioned like a better bull being a bigger, stronger bull. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think it goes back to what Noel's saying. It's about money, right? Like if you can, can you get
an extra 50 hamburgers?
Control.
Yeah, well, maybe the cows from that bull somehow convert grass into fat better or into meat better or something like that. Or maybe, holy cow, look at that bull. He did 50 cows where our other ones only do 30 and then they run out of sperm or something like that. Right? Okay.
And that's where the idea of better, stronger.
There are lots of variables involved.
Fair enough.
But he was talking about, too, it's not even the first generation that you see in the store. It's like subsequent generations.
Yeah.
It's
third or fourth is what he was saying.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 or 3 are too expensive.
Quite honestly,
for an average farmer or rancher to own is what we got up.
It's quite surprising that we're 25 years on. I think Dolly was 99. Like I think they cloned that sheep in 1999, and I think there was some cats that they cloned in the early 2000s. I remember seeing something about cats, but 25 years for something practical that is consumer faced to really show up. You know what I mean? Like. And the so what factor, I hear what you guys are saying. I hear what Steve is saying. Very plausible. But it seems like the general public doesn't want this, and we're moving forward with it anyway. And we have solutions.
It also doesn't help that Health Canada is just chucking this in there and very under the radar.
Yeah.
That's another thing that makes this a question this, because look at COVID.
Yeah.
Look at COVID. And Health Canada did there.
Yeah, and if Health Canada came out and told us what our friend at the beginning of the show told us, hey, listen, this is actually not lab grown meat. It's this is what it is, and this is what it's for, and these are the yields, and this is why, and blah 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 blah. Then I wouldn't believe them. Well, but I'd be more of a believer. I would say, oh, okay, I guess that some of that makes sense, right? But at this, and I mean, it's funny because they do ad hoc explanations sometimes. And the ad hoc explanations after, had they done it previous to rolling this out, I would have said, okay, lent some credence to it and been like, okay, maybe. But as they didn't say anything, and then I had to find out what it was, and then I found out what it was incorrectly, and now I had to be told about this, I'd be very skeptical if they came out now and said, oh, we need to clarify this cloned meat thing, blah, 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 because it's like the cloned meat, the branding's all wrong, it's the rollout's all wrong, it's terrible. Like, they've done a terrible job with it. So it just seems...
So a couple of things. They could be trying to obfuscate it with the lab-grown meat. So like, oh no, look, we already have cloned meat, and now this is just different cloned meat, except there's no animals at all, right?
Yeah.
That would just be a step. But the other thing you hit on that's very important is that you're right. Well, the public doesn't want it. Okay, the public doesn't know. The public is where you were 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, and thinking about too, like about lab-grown meat, like you can't just print meat out of the air. You have to have.
I have seen meat printers.
Yeah, okay, but they have feedstock. Like you have to have the materials that turn into the meat, right? It's not like Star Trek or anything like that. It doesn't just appear on the pad. Like,
do you know the mythos? They explain how the replicators work in Star Trek in Brave New World. I think it is the Star Trek series that they do this. Do you know how that it's supposed to work?
No.
They break down human function into its molecular material and then store it and then reshape it into everything. So like if you order an apple, you're eating your excrement reshaped. The molecule, and I was like, couldn't you? That's what the explanation was on the ship. We use everything. And it's like a 4-minute thing. He's talking to some Romulan or something like that, and he has an apple and he's eating it. And at the end, like he puts it on the desk. He's like, it's a pretty good apple. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also fictional.
Oh yeah, no, but they tell us in fiction where they want us to go. Like they're like, eat, poop, and die, you human scum. They hate us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's prettied up, right? They're not. You and I wouldn't get the nice apple.
No.
We would get like the freeze dried shit that you have to add water to and
yeah.
Orange, right?
You're making a point here too as well. The USAID and the recent revelations of how much fraud is there. There was somebody saying, I can't remember who it was. He was a famous guy, and he said I had to go on food stamps for a while. And I'm watching these videos of people who are like gleefully filling up their carts. He's like, when I was on food stamps, it was nothing like that. Like nothing like that. There was shame. You couldn't afford anything. Like you weren't stacking your cart with everything. You were being very, very picky, and you were trying to make the best prices you can. Like all these people with like soda and like all this other stuff. He said, I don't know what happened. He gave some date like 2012 or 2013 or something like that. Like it was a while ago, but not that long ago, right? Like, and he said nothing like this, and nothing like what we're seeing on social media. And I saw another person say basically, that is a psyop, that is a distraction. It is meant to make you mad. It is meant to expose your lack of humanity. Like she was saying that there were people out there saying, cut off their food stamps, let them starve. You know what I mean? Like these ungrateful SOBs, let them starve. And it's a push to like expose our lack of humanity. I just find it interesting, the parallels. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, I saw something very similar to that this week with Francis Widdowson going to the university in Kamloops there and stuff like that.
Yep.
And getting if you threaten someone's victim card, holy cow, they get mad.
Well, even one BC.
One BC,
another prime example.
Yeah, and one BC is
there's a real opposition in Canada, if you want my opinion.
Yeah, they're the only ones. Yeah, they're the only ones. Dallas Brody either doesn't know or doesn't care what's coming next, and I mean that by they have already started canceling venues. PPC had that done, and so they're going to drag her reputation through the mud. They're going to try and destroy one BC because one BC
are coming soon to her. That's the problem.
Sorry?
Exactly like Andrew Tate said. First, they just warn you.
Yep.
Then they threaten you.
Yep.
Then they try to kill you.
No, it's then they jail you.
You're right, Max. Yep. There is a jail step.
Well, and that'll be much easier when they've got if they can pass this budget and they've got C9, C2, C8. They can take you off the internet. They can remove your website from the internet. C2, C8, C9. They can charge you with hate speech crimes, and so you're done. Like you're cooked, buddy. Sorry about your luck. You're not going on. You're not doing anything because you're just focusing on your legal defense. That's it, right? And it's like, and years later, there was a woman. Not too long ago, there was a woman who in the UK who police showed up to check her daughter's phone, and she didn't want to let them check her daughter's phone, and they arrested the daughter. All charges dropped, but that was like before the summer. You know what I mean? Like that was, I don't know, June, right? Early June.
Process is the punishment.
That's it, right? And so you sit there and you think you've done something wrong, and then after all that, is your family going to say like, "Oh, I'm going to go out to my studio and I'm going to do my show, guys"? Cool, right? Wink, wink. Like, no, like you're not allowed to do that anymore, dude, because the family being put through that process is the punishment. They don't want to deal with that again, right? Like you're not allowed to say that man can't be a woman, Mark. Didn't you read Bill C-9? That's hateful, right? Well, who is it hateful to? Anybody who might be offended by that? Give me a break. Give me a break.
It doesn't
right?
matter who it's hateful to. It could be hateful to anybody's feelings. You've hurt someone's feelings.
Well, you can't say anything then. You can't say anything, right?
And that's the problem.
How can you legislate the feeling?
That's exactly what they want. They want you to be so scared to say anything that you say nothing.
See, I don't work like that. I'm like, did I cross the line? No, you can't. You
I
can't
don't
have
want
understood.
that either, but that's what they want.
I know,
people to be
I know.
like. And then
They're already there. Most people are already there.
Dissenters, and then they can deal with the dissenters as per they want.
C2,
right?
C8, C9. Yep. Oh yeah.
Right?
No, I know.
Do they take the dissenters out at the top level, right? Which would, for us, they would go after Mark, right? That
Maybe.
would shut us all up, right?
They'd go after Rebel. They'd go after Rebel
I get
News.
over my shy and retiring
Well,
ways?
Rebel News and like Ezra Levant would be like the canary in the coal mine. I'd say.
Well, they're
They
already.
would be the first ones. They already are.
They already
Yeah.
are. Yeah, they already are. And I mean,
I think Mark's more the canary in the coal mine because he's the small guy getting like we can see the sense.
Greg and the Dominion Society.
I'm only
Oh,
small
the other
because
one.
they censor me. I'm only small because they censor me. I promise.
Amen, amen, brother.
Mark,
I
Mark,
see it
just
all
go
the
to
time.
Portugal,
Yep.
you'll figure out how big you are. Just go to Portugal.
Yeah, I go to Portugal. It'd be fun. Maybe I'll just move to Portugal. Canada Poly from abroad. I'd still watch. I'd still probably
If
do a
it's
show.
Canada Poly from abroad, do we have to call you like Marquette? And are you going to wear a wig now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So what else do we have?
Canada Poly as abroad.
Oh yeah, right. There we go. So have you guys been paying attention to this Mexico stuff? Anybody want to take a crack at explaining to me what the heck's going on in Mexico? I have genuinely no idea. Oh, MC. Yes, go ahead. Sure.
Well, I can't help remembering, and maybe I'm the only one who remembers this. Didn't her election campaign have 27 political assassinations, like of different candidates and stuff like that?
No,
Like, that's-
37.
Was it
37.
37.
I thought
Really?
37, and then I went like, no, that's too many.
No,
Yeah.
it is 100% 37.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so she was the
So-
last one standing? This
Well,
is like
yeah, not-
nobody wants to be sheriff in this Mexican town because
Now
the sheriff keeps dying.
Does it turn out that she won in spite of the 37 assassinations? Like they just didn't get her. Like I thought they were propelling her to power. That's what the whole alternative media narrative was. Like, look, she got in, but there were 37 assassinations, so she's not.
Yeah.
So she's going to be crooked for sure. And now what? She's gone off script. Like,
Right. I can't figure it out. Like what? So
very weird
is
thing.
she cooperating with Trump too much? Is she closed down the southern border? I mean, it's not like anybody's even
It's just like
showing
we
up.
don't know.
Yeah.
My friend's going
interesting,
down
we
to
don't
Mexico for a surgery next week, and
Ooh.
he's going to tell me all about it.
Good.
Okay, he's going to tell me all about it, and he's going to be in 3 major cities, and his wife's going down for surgery because they can't get it here. It's been a year and a half.
Wow.
Anyway, so they're going to go do that, and he's going to come back, and I work with him, and he'll be back by next KTT,
Nice.
right? And I'll let you know what he saw and what he knows because that's ear to the ground. And so there it is. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm
Have
certainly
I
interested.
missed something? What is going on in Mexico?
There's yesterday evening it started being reported, and then overnight it was reported, and even into this morning it's being reported that there are youths rising up, attacking the presidential palace, which is the seat of government in Mexico, and I can't figure out why. Like, I can't figure out why.
I work with a Mexican gentleman. Let me
Okay.
see if I can.
Are you texting him? Hey man, what's going on back in Mexico? Yeah, I'm interested. I don't know what's
Let
going
me
on
see
there.
if I can get some updates.
Yeah, sure. Do you guys, moving on, because I don't know that we're going to get any answers on Mexico in the short term. So I think this budget's going to pass.
I just had something to say about.
Oh,
Mexico.
sorry, Ryan. You've got your hand up, and I didn't even see. Go ahead, man. And
So like 2-3 weeks ago, this started out. There was actually a whole bunch of young Mexican thugs. They were all masked up, and they went to the houses.
okay,
They
of the
stood at
politicians.
houses, and they broke windows, everything like that. And the guy that I'm watching, he's saying that these were paid, like Antifa, right? They're paid to go and do this. What she came out with is she's going to push the biometric ID. She says every Mexican's going to have to have this ID. And so what's happening is, at the same time in those 3 weeks, Trump came out and he said that he's going to go to war with the narco terrorists. So that's in Venezuela, Brazil, Mexico. It's called Operation Southern Spear. So he's already on this. He wants to take out all the drug cartels. He told this is what Operation Southern Spear is about, because with the Mexican president, she's Jewish. She was put in that place. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of people wiped out. She was put there. Same with Venezuela. Same
with Canada. Same with all of them. Ireland was the same thing. But yeah. She was put there. I agree.
Put there for a reason.
Well, I said Scheinbaum sounds super Mexican. Very Mexican last name there. Lots of Scheinbaums in Mexico.
Yeah, she was put in that place for this reason. They're trying to start just a whole bunch of control. It's chaos. They want to start chaos. What she's gonna say is, all these narco terrorists are in Mexico. They're not gonna take the ID. So anybody that doesn't take the ID
are narco terrorists.
Gosh. And so and
that's plausible. I could see that. Yeah, it's very plausible. Very plausible.
And Trump's he's blowing up Venezuela boats already.
The boats are on. It's not like Venezuela.
No new wars, guys.
But it's not like Venezuela's luxury crafts in Venezuelan waters not heading towards the United States are being blown up, as far as I could tell. The boats are actually on the way to the United States. And I mean, we have to believe the Trump administration when they say they're full of drugs, but at this point in time, it's plausible. That is happening there. I'm not saying those drugs are definitely, or those boats are definitely full of drugs. I'm just saying it maps, and I could believe the Trump administration as much as I could believe the Biden administration or the Clinton administration or the Obama administration. Yeah. So I
think what it is it's being pushed everywhere in the world. Canada, Europe, it's the digital ID.
Yeah, so they're going to
need a war. So they want to start a war in Mexico. They want they got to start the war. They got to start the collapse of all the money and the markets. So then people have to change over to their digital ID. Well, even in Canada right now, I've been hearing a few friends are going on EI, and before they can go on EI, they go on the Canadian website, and it's telling them you have to agree to digital IE before you can claim your EI.
Really?
That's happening now. And I'm thinking with the taxes going to be happening this next year for people to get their government grants or whatever, their child support, their whatever, federal help, they're going to have to say, hey, you got to click yes, I agree to your digital ID. That I think that's bringing it out now. Eh?
Yeah, you could be right.
And that's what they're doing in Mexico, U.S. It's starting. They're rolling it out. They need this to go fast. They're
losing.
Ryan,
So.
happen, but that's what's happening in Mexico.
Okay,
Ryan, let me tell you.
Chaos.
Let me tell you what's happening in Nova Scotia here. Okay.
Yeah.
So, who are the first people that you want to be on side with your digital ID? All your firearms owners. Most of your firearms owners are hunters. Not all, but most. So now the wind is down here telling us that the Ministry of National Renewables and Resources won't be issuing hunting licenses anymore. You're going to have to only be able to get your hunting license through Nova Scotia Hunt.ca.
I wouldn't get a hunting license anymore.
Yeah.
If they say you can't have a driving license.
But Mark, they just increased the hunting penalties from 3,000 to 500,000.
Yeah, they're going to try and bankrupt you. I won't pay that either.
Like I can see what's happening.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Well,
I won't pay.
Other provinces like Alberta with like the whole Alberta wallet. It's not digital ID, guys. Trust us. It's definitely not.
That's not happening.
That's the way the winds are all blown. And Danielle Smith has exposed herself. And
I don't trust
man, trust the
anybody.
plan. Trust the plan. Trust the plan, guys.
Yeah, for real. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. Ryan and Noel and Max. Valerie, you had your hand up, and then it was down, and then Ryan had his hand up. So apologies, we took a while to get to you. But go
Max
ahead,
had his hand up too, and once he spoke, it took it away.
Oh, I didn't take it away.
No, but when
you
you have your hand up and you speak, and you were
Takes
on
it away?
mute, it takes it away.
That's wild.
It's a glitch in the system if nobody's noticed that.
I didn't
yet.
notice it. Yeah, weird.
I took it away on purpose because we switched from meat into topic.
Go back to meat. That's okay.
Yeah, so in meat, if you see meat glue, which is usually methyl cellulose, like Beyond Meat kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
That's
Meat
the stuff
glue.
that meat.
I love it.
Complaining about that because there's no real texture there, or if it's printed, they put streams of fat in between the printed materials. Like you don't want to be involved in meat glue, which is basically methyl cellulose or I can't remember, transaminase. What is it? Transglutamase.
It doesn't sound appetizing.
Trans, I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Does it understand that it's meat and it doesn't have a choice?
Well, as housewives, we have choices, right? So we go to the market, and the other material that they're making with meat glue is usually underpriced. But if you bring it home, it's not got proper texture. So many chefs throw it away. Like they just think it's just disgusting. It's not. It's made more out of methyl cellulose, which is meat glue, or they make it sticky by using the enzyme that transase enzyme glutamate.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Valerie. Carry on. Thank you, Valerie.
It's just gooky mess that's been glued together. You don't really want to eat it.
No.
You'd rather eat something that had real organs and tissues at one point, which is tasty.
Yeah. Meat that needs to be slaughtered and stuff. Yeah.
Like guys that bring home this Beyond Meat stuff, like they usually end up throwing it out because when they cut into it, it's like cutting into jelly.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah,
but we used to have the local butcher shop. How many people on this panel have a local butcher shop or even know a local butcher?
I know of one. Yeah, I know of one. Yeah.
But it used to be everywhere, and now they're.
Well, it's been consolidated.
It's the supermarket.
Yeah, it's been consolidated. Unfortunate because we can't hold anybody really accountable, and it's like, oh well, talk to head office, which isn't anywhere near here. So
now I would also ask the question: who here buys a cow and butchers themselves and feeds their own freezer, and knows where that cow or that pig or those chickens come from?
No, I'd like to. But it's very expensive and you need a lot of space.
The supermarkets, the better. And that's to everybody out there that's listening. One of the best things that you can ever learn is the craft of butchering your own meat. You can go to farms, right? And that you can buy a quarter cow, a half cow, a full cow, pigs,
right?
Yeah, we
You
used to
go
do
out and get a
that.
hunting license,
4 or 5 of us
and hunt some
together,
deer.
and then buy a
Like,
whole cow.
the best thing anybody can do is learn how to butcher meat themselves.
I saw a bit of it on Game of Thrones once. Thanks, Valerie and Noel. MC.
Just going back to what Ryan was saying about Mexico there. This makes sense. They have a false flag of people breaking windows so that they can say, "Oh, we need digital ID as an enforcement response."
Yeah.
Okay, so then now is the protest now in response to the digital ID? Like is it genuine, or who's paying for that protest?
That was my first question. Like, who's doing this?
Like-
Because it
like-
seems like they have control of the presidential palace. What else do they want?
Well,
Yeah, I think it's to make chaos.
I guess so.
Yeah, they're gonna make a war. U.S. is gonna go to war with Mexico. It'll be the narco terrorists.
That'll be
They're gonna say it's the narco terrorists,
yeah.
right?
thank heavens we're not allies with the U.S. anymore, because fighting in Mexico would be really uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah,
You're going to be sweating all the time.
yeah, that's true. It's not.
You're
It's
running
not.
back to the good old war on drugs.
Yeah, the alcohol is not included, right? Like you have to have. It'd be like MASH. You'd have to have your own still, right? Like it's ridiculous.
You know what happens when you eat Mexican food the next day, right?
I worked at a Taco Bell, my friend.
It'd be really hard to fight like that.
It would be. It would be. I enjoyed my tenure at Taco Bell. I enjoyed it. It was great. I would eat a lot of Taco Bell. I would eat Taco Bell today, even though the meat in the tacos comes in bags, and then you boil the taco meat is boiled at Taco Bell, or it was when I worked there anyway. You had to drop it into a boiling vat, and it would have to be in there for 45 minutes, and then you'd dump it into a hot table, and you'd serve it from there. And so on the side of the box was called, and I've told this story before, but the box was called 100% real ground beef, but that was the brand name because it said ingredients, and it says taco. The first ingredient in the taco meat was taco filler, and I was like, man, that taco filler's great. It was
Just
delicious.
wait till the only meat you can afford has a picture of a cat on the can.
The rat burger in Demolition Man makes me.
It's the psychological warfare. It's
Yeah.
just like trying to feed.
This was in the 90s, man. This was in the 90s. I unloaded the truck, man. That's like, this is not psychological warfare. They were just being honest. They were like, man, it's fine. Taco filler's good.
It's
unbelievable. Thanks, MC. Max?
I guess to circle back to the budget, no shit, this budget is going to pass because
Yeah.
we have no indications that like it's going to fail. The CPC had a chance to call an election because of the Block's amendments, and they didn't. And the fact that no conservative influencers or influencers, quote unquote, besides like you, I think Greg on Twitter and some other guys on Twitter have called it out is really funny and kind of indicative of either these people are not paying attention or they are bought off. And I think it's kind of funny that nobody is paying attention to all of this happening, that the budget's going to pass
But
the way
the
the House is
ostriches.
laid out. Yeah, man, the big ostrich. And I'm not saying it's not an issue because I feel horrible for that family that their life's work is gone. But this budget's going to pass.
You're going to get $100 million out of this, or $300 million.
No, I heard that they're not. I heard they have a $500 million
apparently
bill.
They need to pay for, they need to pay for the CFIA.
Yeah, $500 million
but
bill.
Nobody's calling this out. I don't see anybody calling out Pierre Polyev that like the CPC just backed this budget when it would have collapsed and we would have be like at the polls. But then again, is the CPC going on that like quote unquote poll that came out this morning, which showed the whole country is red?
48 to
that poll?
55 seats. Yeah.
We're like
huge.
Alberta to like Nova Scotia is red, and it's crazy, but it's obviously bullshit. But the fact nobody's calling this out and nobody's questioning the CPC is crazy. It's just like now finally people are starting to question Danielle Smith about her motives after this week. Isn't it funny? After a week where I say what I say, where these people are not punk rock, they prove my point like this week. And Danielle Smith. There was an interview where Jeff Rath of the APP made it a point that members of the UCP in Alberta are looking to silence because the UCP has a convention at the end of the month, and they're looking to silence like all the separatists. That's that is the long and short of it. And then it was Thursday or Friday. Danielle Smith is just giving Carney 2 more weeks to flatten the curve in order to like be like separatist deadline. So she's like cooked a race.
So she gave originally she gave Carney till the end of September or September 25th, I think it was. So when Carney was elected,
then November.
Was it Grey Cup? Oh,
Grey
Cup is
today. It would have been today.
Today.
Yeah.
So today's the Grey Cup. So but I knew last week or whatever that she was going to walk out. Like that she was.
I've been calling this for months.
Yeah, right. You were talking about it last week. Everybody was saying this is not going to happen. Obviously, like nothing's been done. Nothing looks like it's going to get done. Pipelines. They laugh at pipelines. They want windmills and solar panels to be an energy superpower, which is stupid.
It's the shoe in the heel.
Hand and glove.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all it is.
It's not a hand and glove. It's the heel, right? Like it's the shoe in the heel. It's just on a softer version with a female playing it. Which is, you usually don't see that, but between her and
she destroyed white.
It's just a bloody shoe in the heel.
She crossed the floor with the Wild Rose, right?
And the thing is, this morning I've seen videos from like Western separatists who have platforms on YouTube saying we should still quote unquote trust the plan, guys. We should still trust Danielle Smith because she has our best wishes at heart. Well, I'm sorry. People have said this about Scheer, O'Toole, Pierre Poilievre, and a myriad of other conservative activists, operatives, and people. And that's all been bullshit.
That'd be like saying trust Tim Houston, Max.
Exactly. Trust. Oh, yeah, guys. Doug Ford is also a conservative. You gonna trust him?
Yeah, right.
The guy in Newfoundland is also a conservative. Do you trust him? Just because they have the name conservative or the word conservative in their party does not mean they are a like true conservative. And the more people that start to acknowledge this, all the better. But people are still blind, and I still see like people blindly like backing politicians, and I don't get it, especially after this week in like Alberta. I will say this: if you still back Smith, you are a fool, and you deserve to like be played at this point. I'm sorry.
Smith is playing. So I wrote about this on Canada Poly. You can see it on the news tab. But Smith brought in a bunch of special interest voters in Islamic voters and promised to back Islamic Muslim holidays, fund Islamic schools in exchange for votes during the AGM last year. Or was it 24? Yeah, I guess 24, right? The end of 24.
It was the last AGM, and she's done this before, and nobody calls her out on it. She is one of the sacred cows. I mentioned this last week, and I've only been proven right that like if I call out Danielle Smith, I'm setting conservatism back in Canada, which is bullshit.
It is bullshit.
No, you're not.
Which like where have we gotten so far?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Where have we gotten by just being a milquetoast in the middle?
Well, no.
Just
well, we've had our country stolen, is what's happened. Unfortunately, yeah. No, it's an unfortunate situation because, and it doesn't seem, but again, it seems like this is not just a Canada problem. Like this is the West. What's his name? Conor McGregor tried to, have a high profile run for president of Ireland, and he couldn't do it. They blocked him. And so
and even Trump is either getting blocked or has been partly bought off by some groups.
Trump's been. Well, I said yesterday that, what is it? Misinformation, disinformation is a part of warfare. You know what I mean? Like, so there are things, and again, like, Trump's better than the other alternative. I don't know if Trump's perfect or anything like that. Certainly not.
I fully agree, but like when you run on like releasing all the Epstein files and you don't, and that is your base, and why aren't we releasing them for some reason? And then he comes out a few months later. Why are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That's going to make a lot of his voters mad. Just like the Bezos giving more money to like Israel, accepting all these spies. And frankly, I think he's cooked with the midterms.
Do you know who? I think that he might be cooked on the midterms. Yeah, I think you might be right. Do you know who the Bronfmans are? Do you know what the Bronfmans are?
The name sounds familiar, but I do not.
Okay, so Bronfman's-
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Like my brother used to hang out with the Trudeaus. Okay. And my good buddy, who I did an outdoor school program with, stopped and tried to stop the other Trudeau from going on that outdoor program while we did the Canadian Outdoor Leadership Training Program. And
Was that the one where like he died in the bus crash?
Okay. No. At any rate, if you look into it, we were the people that were going to join his Trudeau brother because of my friend and go on that excursion where they lost his brother. Okay, so I'm connected to that. And I really, really, really know about that and how it ended and how it began. I'm just saying, I was part of that.
So
And-
the point, hold on. The point I'm trying to make though is
Yeah.
for Max, when you ask, so like one, I think that the
course.
West is embroiled in an active hot war right now, and we're losing it mainly. Two, Trump came in under knowing about this conflict and willing to take it on. The things that he said, the rhetoric he said, the response of the deep state, the response of the media tips the hand that he was a real threat to them. He said he was a real threat, tips the hand that he's a real threat. He goes away in 2020 and they do everything, 2020, and they do everything they can to try and nullify him and make it so that he can never run for president again, because the rules say he could have another term, right? After a single term, and he loses, he could come back. So I've read, and I'm not saying this is 100% genuine, the reason why he has not released the Epstein files, but there are multiple problems with releasing the Epstein files without charges attached. So Trump is going after people who are in the Epstein files. Bronfman is a lieutenant. Bronfman, what's her name? She's serving time in jail now for her connection to NXIVM, which is a sex cult.
Ghislaine? Is it Ghislaine Maxwell? Or-
Maxwell's different.
Oh, the Smallville actress?
Smallville, yeah, the NXIVM thing is connected to Bronfman, but Bronfman is also connected to the Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is like Bronfman and Maxwell are two powerful oligarchs, not oligarchs, but they're like Soros for the previous generation. They were big players, and
his name's
Bronfman,
Steven,
Maxwell,
and his wife, I don't know.
Epstein. Yeah, Bronfman, Maxwell, Epstein. And they're all connected, and Carney's connected to Bronfman and Epstein through his wife,
His wife too.
so on and so forth. So why would Trump not release the Epstein files? Because he's not arresting these people. Why isn't he arresting these people? Because he's using it for leverage. And I don't know if there's
But here's
anything
my problem with that.
to
That
that.
just goes back to like the trust me, bro politics.
Oh, I know. No. I'm just saying
it's like, I'm sorry, but like if somebody tries to say that response, that's the same as like we need to just trust Pierre Poilievre to fix the system. But like no, if he isn't, I'm sorry, if like Trump is in those files, he should face the wall. It's a controversial statement. If he's on those files and like,
but he's not on
he
those.
should face the wall.
He's not on those files. I'm
Then why
pretty
isn't he releasing
confident
them?
that he's not on those files.
Why isn't he releasing them?
Because it's leverage over the people that he's trying to dislodge from power, and two, it is not possible to release a list of names that are on the Epstein list without attached charges, because you could have, quote, innocent people, and I'm not saying that the people on the Epstein list are necessarily innocent, but I am saying you could have a difficult time proving their guilt, right? So if you have somebody on that Epstein list and you don't have them dead to rights and you release their name on that list, they're going to probably go after you, right? And so like there are legal problems with releasing a list like that just out into the public. You can't do it unless you also arrest the people who are on the list that you release. You say, here's the Epstein list, and we've made the arrests of everybody, because otherwise those people will die. People will just go and kill them, right? Regardless of their guilt. And is that right or wrong? Probably wrong. But at the same time, people are angry, and that's an outlet. That's a lightning rod on somebody. And if they don't know they're on the list, like think of how many do you have chain of custody from Epstein to Trump's clean Department of Justice? Do you? Because if you don't, you can't ruin people's lives, because Democrats had like Comey was a fucking criminal. Ray's a criminal. It seems like these people,
Pelosi.
Right. Biden seems like he's a criminal. Hunter
but
Biden
he
seems like he's a
outlaw.
criminal. All of these people had control and input. What's his name? Kinzinger? No, that's Kinzinger. Kinzinger was Trump's trade guy. Who was the trade guy? He looked really
Pompeo?
slimy. Not Pompeo. He was Biden's chief. He had a slimy name. I'm gonna have to look it up. But like all of these people, it wasn't Biden running things. It was all of these people. They'd have input into these lists, into all of the other stuff. And I mean, I had problems with the Epstein list when they were saying we're going to release this on day one, because they were saying that, and I don't like
But that's
disagree
the
with you.
precedent they set, and that's why a lot of their voters are mad, because this has been because Jeffrey Epstein has been the biggest open secret in like American politics for decades, and the fact is, when you promise to like release this day one and you don't, that's going to make a lot of people mad, and rightfully so. Personally,
There's a lot of things that didn't happen,
and there's a lot of other stuff that possibly Epstein has like say there are allegations and links from like say like Epstein to like Mossad. There are clear links there.
Well, I think that's goes without. I mean, not even goes without saying, but I think has been said a bunch, right? Like, and like the thing is, he was a weapons trafficker, from what I've read. He was a sex trafficker, human trafficker. He was he was in the universities in like the 90s and got promoted for doing nothing. Yeah. Well, no, but he wasn't doing
money financier to the elite.
Yeah, he wasn't doing nothing though, Max. That's the thing. He was getting blackmail on people.
Yeah.
Like they wired up the Playboy Mansion too. The place we think we live is not the place we live. The power that rules over us are not actually, those people are puppets. They're not actually powerful people. They do what they're told, right? They'll say whatever they need to say to get to the next step. The other thing that I look at with Trump as well is in his first term, he declassified a bunch of stuff, but they never got released. So like as the president, he's got power to a degree, but he doesn't have full power. Like he's not in charge of the Department of Justice. He's just in charge of who runs the Department of Justice, right? And like he's not in charge of the AG, right? Because Bill Barr was the AG, and Bill Barr didn't do anything. All of the AG, Pam Bondi didn't do anything either. So like, and again, I'm not saying I trust Trump blind or anything like that. I'm just saying that I think that there are complicated pieces moving fast, and I think we're in a hot war. And I think like sometimes if somebody says we're going to end the Ukraine war day one, well, the Ukraine war is not ended right now.
I fully agree.
And we're going to take this town on day one, and the troops are like, yeah, we are. We're going to vote for this guy because he seems like he's got a good plan.
And then you run into a minefield.
And then you're like, shit, like we really screwed this whole thing up.
And like,
damn.
my thing is like, oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, that's my point. Like you can have a plan all you want, and then sometimes your general doesn't execute. And like you're not on the battlefield.
Something goes wrong.
Yeah, you've been told this is the state of play on the battlefield, and then you say, okay, based on what you've told me, then go ahead and take the village. And you say, my best generals have told me we're gonna take the village, and then shit happens. Maybe the general's taking you along for a ride in the first place, and you don't actually take the village, and now your citizens hate you, and you're like, well, shit, like, damn, I didn't mean to do that. That's not how it was supposed to go.
The reason why I bring up the whole Epstein files is that it's one of many things that have led to like the like traditional MAGA voter base turning on Trump.
Do you think that they turned on Trump?
I think people are slowly because did Trump run because H1 visas because America doesn't have. Like,
did he repeal the $100,000 that it costs the corporations to use H1B visas?
I am not aware, but I don't know. But at the same time, it's the media.
It's a media hit piece. It's a media hit piece. From what I can tell, it's a media hit piece.
People are turning on like Ben Shapiro now and the rise of like Nick Fuentes. Yeah. That's a clear rise.
Well, because Ben Shapiro is clearly paid off by people, and Nick Fuentes. I mean, it's really hard to be the guy who's like, who's great, right? It's hard to be that guy.
Of like Nick Fuentes, but at the same time, I understand.
No, but I'm saying
because. Sorry.
I'm saying like it's not easy to be the guy who is counter to the wisdom of the day and who's saying, who was right, this guy who was right, and everybody else thinks you're wrong. And like now people are flocking to Nick Fuentes because he's able to articulate things that nobody else really says.
It's not even that. A lot of young men are flocking towards Nick Fuentes because I'm not speaking out of pocket when I say I am the youngest person on this panel, and for all the time I've been growing up as a straight, white, young man we have been demonized by like government, media, shows, TV, games. We are victims of a system that like only really cares, quote unquote, cares about us when like we need to like fight and die in wars. And even then, when we come home, we are not cared about and we are shoved aside like trash. And that's why people are drawn towards Nick Fuentes is because they see all these quote unquote old like politicians, and they see after everything they like say and do, the system has like failed them, and it's only gotten worse. And the reason why like he like is popular is because there are a bunch of kids like Nick that watch him, because in the end, like I'm a product of like a broken system. In the end.
Well, yeah, but the whole system is broken, and they use that broken system to control us. They use that broken wheel to make sure that we have to keep pushing it around. You know.
Yeah.
One thing, like, not to. I don't think that you're wrong. I think that you're quite correct in a lot of your assessments. But make sure not to victimize yourself by buying into the things that you're told. If somebody tells me,
I wasn't trying to buy into it. I was just saying like,
yeah.
Like,
No, but it's dangerous.
Like we have been told.
Yeah,
but
Max, you're realizing the position that society is placing yourself and your brother and your cousin, you know, your local neighbor in, and you're aware of it now at the age that you are. I'm not saying identify your age. I'm just saying you're aware of that now, where some people like myself, I wasn't aware that the system was against me until maybe 10 years after than you are now. So you got to look at a challenge as, you know, like everybody wants to be a stronger human being, right? Well, you got to accept the challenge, and I'm sorry, but you got to pull this bull by the reins, and you got to figure out how to run.
I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware.
But you have that knowledge, and again, this goes out to anybody that's listening. The sooner you get that knowledge, the better you are. And you know, I hope there's more people in your generation that have that forethought, that are seeing this. And I'm not saying it's the Nick Fuentes or anything like that, but they're becoming aware at a younger age that the deck is stacked against them, and they got to figure out the best way possible to make the cards work in their favor. And it's not to bow down and be a victim. It's to take that bull by the reins and say, I'm going to try to steer this the best I can. And maybe the bull's going to win, and maybe I'm going to be able to steer him. And, you know, maybe I'll not be able to steer that bull to hit the fence, but maybe I'll get him away from the fence, and I'll get a chance to stay on top of him before I get flicked off.
To clone him.
And that's the best way to look at it is you don't want to get flicked off the ride. You got to be on it, and sometimes you're on the side of the bull, and sometimes you're on the belly, and sometimes you're getting kicked, but sometimes you're on top.
No one wants like to like be the nail, but everyone wants to be the hammer.
Well, you're right, but you know what? Just because you're the nail doesn't mean that you're not going to go in and be driven in and forgotten about in the first hit. Be that nail that is really hard to drive. So maybe they go on to the next nail, and then we'll come back to you to finish you off. And you know what I mean? Stand up. You be that nail in that hardwood that hits that knot and says no. Or even bends right over and say, now pull me out. I often that nail.
I often
don't be the nail that just is willingly driven in and said, I'm here to stay.
I often look at what's going on, and I try and utilize what I know to better position me for whatever's coming, right? Like, and it's hard to know what's coming. It's hard. You can't predict the future, but if you are aware of more information, if your data is better than other people, then you can position yourself in a better way to make better decisions. And like when I was a kid, when I was 20 years old, I bought a house. And most of my friends were getting into debt to go to college or college and university. I had money that I could spend directly on college. My college cost $3,500 for my first year. And then I paid my tuition by semester. And so it was like $2,500 to $3,500 a semester. And I was working. So I was able to take on debt, but that debt was a house. And I did something different because I just thought all of my friends getting into debt for going to school was stupid. And I was like, well, I have all this money and I can buy a house and like I could do this other thing. And this seems like a good idea. And so like, I wasn't really trying, I call it slaloming now. Like like you're looking down and you're kind of planning on how to react to the terrain in front of you. Right. But I was looking at all these people who were not having very much success going to school and spending a lot of money on university. And I was like, well, what's an asset that I could buy with that same money, get into a similar debt situation, but that debt will work for me instead of me just having to pay this thing back. And so like, I was a young guy. I was going around. I had real estate agents helping me, and like people thought it was kind of funny. Like, oh, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to rent out the rooms. What do you mean? What am I going to do? This is an asset, right? So like I lived rent free, but then I didn't capitalize on it. I kind of like I was a dog that caught a car. And I didn't know what the hell to do with it after that. So I was like, okay, so I've got like money and I've got money coming in and I don't know what to do now. So I'm just going to hang out. And I mean, it worked out okay. Like I was able to parlay it and like figure it out. But like a lot of times if you, a lot of people, what a lot of people discern as work is actually just opportunity, right? Some people will look at something and they'll pass it up and they're like, oh man, that looks like a lot of work, right? Whereas I looked at something and I was like, well, that looks like an opportunity. How much money do I need? Yeah. Like, right. What can I divine out of this? You know what I mean? Like the other thing is, so I have like, I have assets and they make me money so that I can use those assets for free. So like I have, servers and the servers paid for by clients that I have, and the clients pay for the use of my servers because of the content on the server, and they're happy to pay, and I'm happy that I have the server and I can use the excess capacity on the server for whatever I want. And I do that and it's wonderful. It's because it's my server, right? It's mine. And so like I can use assets of what I can do to benefit me. And like, that's what a business is, right? Like you get a product, people start paying you. Now you have assets, like this business is an asset, and then you can use that money to make more things and churn more assets. The game is the same. You just have to be able to read the terrain better. And if you do read the terrain, then translate that into actionable things. Like I've noticed this thing happening. How can I use that to my advantage? While this is happening, what's not happening? Like what's another avenue to do something that is worthwhile?
Yeah. What can you take advantage of and exploit in order to put yourself in the best case you can?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's money sloshing around. There's all sorts of crazy stuff sloshing around. There's better to have skills than things, right? If you have money, it's better to buy skills than it is to buy items usually, until you're starting to stack like real assets, right? But like if you can build a website and rescue a website, return it around to help the SEO get fixed or something to that effect, these are skills you can build that are very difficult to take away from you. You know what I'm saying, right? It's same with like if you can rebuild an engine, or if you can put together a drill. You know what I mean? Like these practical things, if you can run a machine that's a little bit difficult to run, but not that difficult for, you could watch a couple of YouTube videos on it and now you can run the machine. And these specialized things will be skills that are valuable, and you can use those valuable skills to meet your needs. And it's a lot of people look at the world and they're like, oh, it's a disaster. What am I ever going to do? And it's like, well, disasters make a lot of freaking money, man. Like there's so much money around. Go get it. Like it's just around. You can go get it. It's okay. Anyway, we got to move on. I just realized we're like 10 after 2. So thanks, Max and MC and Noel, and Ryan's got his hand up. So take us home, Ryan. And Valerie and Peter and Steve. Sorry, Max.
No, I just wanted to say, yes, Max, you're right about Daniel Smith.
Yes.
And it's the same thing that's going on. It's hopium, and then they bring you down, demonize you. That's the same with Jason Kenney. What he did, the same thing. We all had hope for Jason Kenney, and then he brought out
Until COVID happened.
Yeah, he brought out the COVID-19. You got to get the jabs. This. Same thing with Danielle Smith. It's like all she had to do is say, "Okay, Carney, well, you didn't take none of these things off the 9 points, the list that I gave you. So here we're going to put a date for a referendum question in the next couple of months, and the date for this vote is going to be in 4 months." That's all she had to say. But no,
Yeah.
she's part of the whole thing, man.
He was
I get
placed
duped
there
too.
in order
I
in
had
order to
hopes for Daniel
control
Smith.
sentiment.
Damn it. Son of a bitch.
we wanted it to be we want it out, but every time you think you're out, they pull you back in. It's just
You're right,
crazy.
man.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, with that, we have to say goodbye. So thanks everybody for watching, and I think we'll be here next week. My schedule is loosening up, so I think we're okay. So thanks for watching.